And honorable members, I have outlined areas of dissent. One is the procedural irregularity of supplementaries to committee before they are tabled in Parliament. The overall size and character of the supplementary request, the repeated supplementary financing for long-standing predictable obligations, unequal allocation of development funds, the political risks, excessive reliance on classified expenditure, failure to plan for donor exits in projects that are donor funded, recurrent bailouts of entities, persistent lack of documentation for key infrastructure, and major election spending without proper disclosure. I'll begin with introduction. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, in all my 14 years in this House, I have never seen a supplementary request that casually rewrites the national budget the way this one does. A revision of 6.255 trillion. The chair has said the request is 8. What was tabled and for which the minister confirmed yesterday was 6.255 trillion. I don't know at what stage it became 8. Above what we approved is nothing short of excessive. Our national budget of 72.376 trillion can only be lawfully revised through supplementary expenditure in cases of genuine emergencies such as natural disasters or unforeseen crises. Yet here we are with 459 billion requested under State House, including allocations for youth mobilization for the NRM presidential candidate and other items disguised as classified. So the NRM candidates wants money for mobilizing youth. They are called youth tours. Suddenly the political discomfort among younger people who are not supporting President Museveni has been turned into an emergency that must be funded at once. The handling has been equally troubling. I learned of the budget committee meeting through a phone call from the chair, barely 10 hours before the sitting. Yet Rule 2134 of our Rules of Procedure provides, unless the House is sitting not less than 48 hours, not shall, the word shall, be given to members of the committee when calling any meeting. The word is shall. But the chair casually called me at night. He said, come in the morning. The rules assume that MPs conduct serious business on behalf of citizens, not that we gather to rubber stamp or validate the wrongs of the executive, which is what this process now appears to demand of us. So the first area of dissent is non-compliance with the law. Article 156, sub-article 2 of the Constitution states that if in respect of any financial year it is found that A, the amount appropriated for any purpose under the Appropriation Act is insufficient, or that a need has arisen for expenditure for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated by that act, or that any monies have been expended for any purpose in excess of the amount appropriated for that purpose, or for a purpose for which no amount has been appropriated by that act. That's what is important. A supplementary estimate showing the sums required or spent shall be laid down before Parliament, and in the case of excess expenditure, within 4 months after the money is spent. So this is a constitutional requirement, laying of the document, the requests before Parliament. The Public Finance Management Act, Section 24, is clear on how supplementary budgets are processed. It states the total supplementary expenditure that requires additional resources over and above what is approved by Parliament shall not exceed 3% of the total approved for that financial year without approval of Parliament. Section 24(1) states that where funds are expended under subsection 1, supplementary estimate showing the sum spent shall, this is a law, it's not a rules of procedure. The law says shall be laid before Parliament within 4 months after the money is spent. Rule 1/6 of our rules of procedure states that the minister responsible for finance shall, and you can see from the Constitution, shall, to the Public Finance Management Act, shall, to the rules of procedure, shall, in accordance with Article 156(2) of the Constitution and Section 24 of the Public Finance Management Act, present before Parliament supplementary estimate on behalf of the President. Rule 160 says the Speaker shall commit, the word shall, commit the proposed supplementary estimates to the Committee on Budget and to each, please take note, to each sectoral committee, the part of the supplementary that falls within the jurisdiction of the respective sectoral committee. Subject to Regulation 18 of the Public Finance Management Act, Regulations 2016, as amended, a supplementary expenditure request must meet the following conditions. I don't have to emphasize them. Unavoidable, unforeseeable, and they are all explained in the law. The supplementary expenditure request before us do not conform to these conditions. They may be sweet. I have seen colleagues celebrating, but the conditions were set by this House. Right Honorable Speaker, these are the provisions of the Constitution and the statutory procedures laid out for processing supplementary estimates. Perhaps the Speaker did not fully consider these constitutional requirements when she received and referred the supplementary request to the Budget Committee. Knowing that the requests had not been properly presented to Parliament, the chair of the committee should have immediately drawn the Speaker's attention to these provisions. Since this did not happen, the Speaker now has no option but to adjourn this matter to allow the proper process to be followed. Because this is what the Constitution, you can suspend the rules, you can't suspend the Constitution, you cannot suspend the Public Finance Management Act. Don't stampede Parliament. That's what the Constitution and the Public Finance Management Act says. The role of the sectoral committees. Supplementary requests from ministries and agencies are supposed to be scrutinized by sectoral committees, which on behalf of Parliament supervises these sectors. This is not a ceremony, but a safeguard for citizens' hard-earned taxes. There are more than, I put 50, but 100 agencies requesting for supplementary budgets. Sectoral committees are required to scrutinize these requests and report to the Budget Committee within 14 days. We received these requests, I don't know, maybe on Sunday, because on Monday, and then the following day the chair was calling a meeting. So the requirement is that you refer portions to sectoral committees for scrutiny before you authorize. The Budget Committee has no capacity to inquire into the details of all these requests. You needed to be in the South Committee room where we sat to witness the stampede firsthand. All these agencies streamed into the room and crowded the corridors. This should never happen again, Right Honorable Speaker and members. The MPs on the Budget Committee who arrived from up country in the morning and went straight into the meeting were visibly tired. Even when I pleaded with the chair that we were tired, he simply said, "Let us go ahead." Some ministries and agencies appeared with no written briefs at all. Others came with loose sheets of paper. Some simply recited figures with no clear explanation of how they arrived at them. This is unacceptable. Before you approve expenditure, you are supposed to look at the procurement plans and work plans under Section 12 of the Public Finance Management Act. That's what we did when we were passing the budget. That's what should be done. The Budget Committee sat for about 8 hours yesterday. It is not possible that it scrutinized all these documents, and the rule on referral is very clear. These are referred to you for scrutiny, not just for coming here and you repeat what the minister has given you. This practice creates room for abuse. Figures can change, like you have seen them actually changing. The minister brought 6 trillion, the chair is reading 8. Even me, a member of the committee, senior member, I don't know how they rose from 6 to 8. items can be smuggled in or removed before formal tabling. Yesterday we even had a throat food factory with no money, with no source of money, but it had also been put here. Uganda cannot manage trillions of shillings through informal briefings and hurried presentations. We must insist that the minister tables the documents properly before Parliament and only then refers them to the committee. Anything else compromises transparency and exposes public funds to risk. Any attempt to process these supplementary requests amounts to overthrowing the Constitution, the Public Finance Management Act, and our rules of procedure. I agree there is room to suspend the rules, but there is no room I am aware of for suspending the Constitution. Source of funding. Rule 162 states that the supplementary estimates presented under sub-rule shall clearly spell out the source of the funding for the supplementary expenditure request for each vote. Reason, you passed a budget here. The moment you allow the Honorable Musasi to go and change it by 8 trillion, he will be removing money from the items that you approved and putting the money to the items that he likes. For example, there is the money for youth mobilization tours. Where is that money coming from? All that must be explained according to our rules. What the minister, my friend Honorable Musasi, did was simply place the word government of Uganda, GOU or external, at the end of each request. Yet the rule says clearly the source for each vote. The rules require that the source of funding be clearly spelled out. If the minister is allowed to play around with the budget this way, he will remove money from critical items and divert it to useless and unquantifiable things like youth mobilization tours under State House. Revising budget, initially, I was going with a figure given to us to 78. Now it is to 80 trillion, because if a budget of 72 you are adding 8, we are now going to 80 trillion, the total budget. These supplementaries 1, 2, and 3 have revised the budget, as I said, you need to take note of that, to now 80 trillion. This revision carries far-reaching consequences for the economy. Financing these supplementary requests through borrowing will automatically raise the public debt. Remember, we are already borrowing 32 trillion to finance the approved budget. We are now set to return to commercial banks to borrow for all sorts of things. Parliament must explain all documents, must examine all documents that accompany the budget to ensure that there is no deviation. These include the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility, the borrowing plan, and other related documents. Parliament must also study the findings of the Auditor General. In several of his reports, the Auditor General notes that supplementary requests are routinely made even when there is no actual money available to fund them. So it becomes a ceremony coming here, you pass, and they are not funded. Supplementary is becoming the main budget. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Parliament is being asked to approve more than, it's now 8 trillion in supplementary funding. If this continues, we will soon reach a point where the annual budget is treated as a ceremonial event, where the real spending happens through supplementary schedules. Road contracts that have been running for years cannot be classified as emergencies. Oil palm compensation has been ongoing for a decade. The UPDF hospital in Imbuya has appeared in 3 consecutive supplementary requests. Donor exits, such as you said, have been announced far in advance. These, by the time we did the budget, we knew that you said they had gone. We knew that money had been withdrawn. These are predictable matters that should have been foreseen in the main budget. Right, Honorable Speaker, from the foregoing, it appears that government has chosen to treat Parliament as a fallback position for everything they failed to plan for. So they just walk here and the chairman will come here, proudly say, we pass. The cotton-linked buffer stock and quiet favoritism. The Minister of Agriculture is requesting 6.1 billion shilling for what they describe as support to the cotton value chain. The first component is to cover the transport of cotton lint for fine spinners. The second component, which they revealed to the committee, is government's plan to purchase T-shirts from fine spinners and then sell them to the Uganda Tailors Association to recover the money. So you can imagine, you are borrowing money to buy T-shirts. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, this is where the alarm bells ring. We are being asked to believe that government is going to bulk buy T-shirts using public money, hand them over to a private association, and then somehow recover the funds. This is the kind of transaction that begins in a ministry and ends in a political rally. You've seen where candidates are going, especially the NRM candidate, even in Karamoja, where 62% don't have clothes. He has dressed an entire rally. That is in the report of, you can't say order, this is the report of the census. The trouble is that you don't read. Ugandans have seen enough election seasons to recognize when something is not adding up. Cotton farmers in Acholi, Teso, Buked and Western Nile have waited for real support for decades. Their cooperative generally collapsed. Their farm gate prices remain miserable. Yet instead of helping farmers, government wants to subsidize the logistics of a private textile company and then buy T-shirts using the consolidated fund. The same fine spinners have supplied apparel to government programs before. Now government is positioning itself as their biggest customer in an election period. Supporting the textile sector is important, but not through hurried subsidies, opaque transactions, and a sales arrangement that no one can reasonably verify. If government wants a national textile strategy, let it table one. This business of buying T-shirts for tailors using taxpayers' money is not a strategy. It is a risk, and Parliament must not approve it blindly. Agriculture areas and the geography of favor. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, tea seedlings areas have become a permanent feature of supplementary budgets. Apple seedlings, also supplied on credit, have now joined the queue. This is a system where suppliers deliver for years without a budget and expect Parliament to clear areas at the end of each financial year. It is not sustainable. Worse still, the same districts benefit repeatedly. Some parts of Western Uganda appear almost every year in Ministry of Agriculture submissions. Meanwhile, farmers in Northern Uganda have no tea nurseries, no larger-scale seedling support programs, and no agro-industrial facilities. Equity has become rhetoric rather than practical. Electoral Commission and the mystery of new polling stations. The Electoral Commission is seeking more than 460 billion for ballot papers, biometric systems, and the creation of new polling stations. Yet they have not provided a list of these new polling stations, nor have they justified the expansion. They also did not present technical documentation for the new biometric system. Election management should not be based on trust. Parliament cannot approve technology we have not seen, or polling stations whose locations are unknown. In an election year, such a past raises serious concerns. Minister of Works, Transport, Minister of Works and Transport Crisis Management. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the Ministry presented a long list of stalled, suspended or slow-moving road projects. These include Moroto. I don't have to read them, the chair read them here. These roads have been under construction for many years. Their financing needs were known. Contractors have been waiting for payment. There is nothing sudden about these obligations. They are the result of chronic underplanning and poor cash flow management. A supplementary budget cannot clean up years of negligence. Uganda Airlines and the cost of flying without a plan. The ministry is requesting more than 400 billion to purchase new aircraft for Uganda Airlines. Yet the country has not recovered from the Bombardier deal, where we purchased aircraft that were already being phased out. Global production slowed, spare parts became scarce, and maintenance became a nightmare. The airline has been grounded more than once because mechanics could not source essential components. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, we are now being asked to buy more aircraft before conducting due diligence on viability, maintenance, costs, routes, and long-term sustainability. We are being asked to purchase planes before addressing the problems of the ones we already have. A national airline should be a source of pride, but pride must be backed by planning. Parliament should not approve aircraft purchases that may leave us stuck once again with obsolete models. Before the government buys any new aircraft, a thorough due diligence process must be presented, including maintenance projections and route sustainability. Uganda cannot afford another Bombardier disaster. Even basic legal procedures have not been completed. There must be shareholder resolutions regarding capitalization, and these must be registered with the Register of Companies. We have a report of the COSASE which this parliament approved. That's why I didn't include it in the report. In the report of COSASE approved here, COSASE recommended that we should be leasing instead of buying, and parliament approved. Now it cannot be the same parliament that approved leasing, now is saying buying. People who read the answer will wonder which sort of parliament was this one. Water and energy in this area. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the Ministry of Water and Environment is requesting funds once again to connect 156 villages under SCAP 100. Yet they cannot even provide a simple list of these villages. They want to expand umbrella water systems before addressing the same system that are unreliable and already too expensive for our people. The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development still has electricity poles standing like abandoned monuments in many trading centers following the rationalization of REA. Transformers are nowhere to be seen, and hospitals spend hours in darkness. Yet the same ministry is demanding billions for new connections, while the old unfinished work is conveniently ignored. Right, Honorable Speaker, this country needs proper sequencing, not a rush to announce new projects. We should complete what we start. It makes no sense to seek more money when already funded work is still hanging. Let us fix what is incomplete before moving on to the next project. Defense and negatory expenditure hidden behind classified budgets. Right, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, the first problem before us is the ever-expanding envelope of classified expenditure. Every year it grows, every year it returns, and every year we are expected to approve billions we cannot trace, verify, or interrogate. That's how negatory spending hides in plain sight. When money enters a classified corner without clear boundaries, it comes out as a bill to the taxpayer with no evidence of value created. A country cannot build accountability on invisible figures. It is in that context that other concerns emerge. Take the UPDF National Referral Hospital in Mbuya. This is not a classified project, yet it appears repeatedly in supplementary budgets with no clear progress, no timelines, and the same items returning like a bad chorus. Even more confusing, the National Medical Store is seeking supplementary funding to supply commodities for the same hospital, where the Minister of Defense is also requesting 10 billion to capitalize the hospital. Two different votes, one hospital and no clarity on who is actually responsible for what. This is how wastage takes root. Parliament must insist that hospitals are completed, budgets are harmonized, and the taxpayer is not billed twice for the same medicine. UDC and the perpetual bailout model. Sorot Fruit Factory is now a yearly visitor to this house. Every financial year, it needs capitalization. Meanwhile, farmers in northern Uganda watch their mangoes rot in gardens. Industrialization cannot benefit one region repeatedly while treating others as afterthoughts. UDC must operate as an investment arm with performance indicators, not a rescue agency for struggling factories. State House. State House has spent more money under the 3% already that doesn't require prior parliamentary approval, and they are asking for more. In total, State House is requesting approval of 459 billion in supplementary. The approved budget for State House is 479.8 billion. This will bring total State House budget to 939 billion this financial year. This is a revision of 95.9%. This translates into 2.5 billion per day and 107 million per hour, including at night when State House occupants are supposed to be sleeping. Considering that we are spending 1 trillion on parish development model per year, and you know parish development model is supposed to finance 3.5 million households, translating into 14 million people. So the amount of money we are spending at State House is equal to the amount of money we are spending on 14 million people to get out of poverty. The money we are spending on the residence of our dear leader is equal, as I said, to money spent on 14 million people. Can you imagine some of the money State House is asking for, which we will borrow, is for youth mobilization tours? You have seen my friend, the Honorable Barugahari, is addressing a rally every day asking younger people to support an older man. These State House requests must be rejected with all the contempt that it deserves. Recommendations are here. First, reject all supplementary requests that represent poor planning rather than genuine emergency. Require the Ministry of Agriculture to produce a full cotton value chain report before any further support private companies like fine spinners. Freeze all agricultural areas until an independent audit verifies supply, distribution, and impact. Demand a national equity framework to ensure balanced regional development in agriculture, energy, water, and industry. Require the Electoral Commission to provide a list of new polling stations and full documentation of the biometric system before funding is approved. Finalize stalled rural electrification works before releasing funds for new connections. Require government to present a detailed due diligence report on Uganda Airlines aircraft purchases before approval. Demand audited performance and sustainability reports for Sorot Fruit Factory and all UDC investments. Mandate quarterly implementation reports to Parliament for all supplementary expenditures approved. Right, honorable members, in conclusion, the people whose taxes we oversee do not enjoy supplementary lives. They walk long distances for water. They give birth under torchlight. They watch government planes fly over their villages while waiting for electricity poles that were erected 5 years ago. They deserve planning, not improvisation. They deserve fairness, not favoritism. They deserve a government that manages their money with discipline. This minority report is presented in defense of those Ugandans whose taxes you are about to authorize luxury spending. We refuse to endorse worst political convenience or poor planning. We dissent because it is our responsibility to do so. Right, Honorable Speaker and members, the report ends there. Thank you very much.
Honorable Member, thank you so much. First of all, I want to look at the alleged procedural irregularity that you talked about. The minority report alleges the procedural irregularity, which is not correct. 2, Rule 161 requires the Minister of Finance to present the supplementary estimates before the House. The Minister indeed tabled the report of the supplementary. Today, if you look at today's order paper, clearly it provides for the laying of the supplementary schedules, which was done. The laying was done. The accompanying documents were duly attached to what the minister laid. And as I said before, that we did a administrative referral because members were on recess. And when we did that under Rule 8, there is nothing that would, there is a precedence that has already been set on that. And then secondly, the accusation that the House has flouted the Constitution, that is also not correct. Article 156(2) of the Constitution has been duly complied with. The minister introduced the supplementary on behalf of the President. The request was duly referred to the committee. The committee is reporting and has reported. I want to also, and when the supplementary is presented, the supplementary has the amount that is required, the purpose of that amount, and it has the vote. I want us to look at the introduction, where you are talking about the State House, the money which is given for State House, and you're saying this money is for mobilization of NRM presidential candidate. I don't think there is anywhere in the report, unless the chairman says it is there, which shows that the NRM chairperson requires this money for mobilization. And I want to, Honorable Ssenyonyi, as a custodian of the rules of the House, I wouldn't allow any statements that make this house look dirty. Because if it is not indicated anywhere, why are we importing statements into the report? Maybe I need to find out from the chairman. Is the money meant for mobilization? The money which is classified? Because let's avoid the irresponsible reporting.
Right, Honorable. The money which is here is for youth mobilization activities. All youth of Uganda, the government pays a lot of attention to the youth issues. And we are all, like even Parliament has observed that we have got many youth, and youth need what we call affirmative action. So government provides money for youth mobilization activities, for youth livelihoods, for better life skilling and so on. That's why we have even the hubs, skilling hubs, all that are done under State House. It's not an irregular activity. It's benefiting our youth.
And it is not benefiting NRM.
No.
Let's avoid this business of bringing NRM into this. Let's see, Daudi.
Madam Speaker, this is my report.
Yes.
I need to explain. You see, the moment you don't follow the rules, you run into trouble like this one. The law requires production of work plan and procurement plans for the money before you authorize spending. Can the chairperson of the committee table evidence here of work plan and procurement plans for this money? Then I will come here and apologize. This money for youth mobilization.
Before cabinet approved this, the work plan was presented to cabinet.
It's supposed to be presented before a parliament under the Public Finance Management Act, not cabinet.
We are not supposed to do work for cabinet. You see, we are in campaign time. We should also appreciate what Ssenyonyi is going through. He's doing his campaign now. And Honorable Ssenyonyi, we are with you. Don't worry.
That's unfair on me, Madam Speaker. Actually, you are the one doing campaign.
Madam Speaker.
Where is the procurement plan and work plan?
Madam Speaker, that Honorable Ssenyonyi is in the campaign. We are also in the campaign. And also we have a presidential flag bearer of NRM in the campaign. So when you blackmail that we are looking for money to mobilize NRM youth, we have a duty to object and tell the country that this is a program being run under State House. It is a program that was there before the campaign. It is a program that is seeking to remodel the youth livelihood program. It is a program that State House is implementing even way back before the elections started. So to insinuate that this is money that is going to mobilize NRM youth, no. This is completely not true. But also, Madam Speaker, there is another issue which was raised where the minority member is saying that each minute State House is spending this amount of money. Madam Speaker, budgeting is not done in minutes.
Honorable Minister, when you look at NDP4,
yes,
the theme of the NDP4 was sustainable industrialization for inclusive growth, employment and wealth creation.
Yes.
Enhancement of human capital development.
Yes.
And that's where
that is where it
this
falls.
kind of money.
And also there is the work
promotion of empowerment and household programs for the youth.
Yes.
That is what is in NDP4.
Yes. Thank you so much, right?
And then you look at Objective 5 of NDP4, the development and operationalization of value addition, specifically on issues that regard the youth. in this country.
Yes, Madam Speaker, and also additionally, there is a work plan to all these processes. We don't just cook numbers. The numbers are informed by the work plans and the activity schedules. So, and Madam Speaker, the people who are running the Treasury are sober people. I want to believe Honorable Ssenyonyi knows my background. There are things I cannot just do. I cannot give you money without a basis. I need proper documentation. I must make sure the law is followed. I must make sure that in the future when you ask me, I should be able to defend myself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I have respect for Honorable Sasizi. This House, we approved a program under political party and organization, and we approved money under iPod. To this date, 2 billion shillings for FDC we have not received. Even the NRM has not received.
How is it related
because
to this?
He's saying, that Honorable Speaker, he's saying he cannot release money without program. But money for political parties, we had a program, we approved it here, we have not received it. Why is not releasing money which was approved under program?
Honorable members, the 2 billion you're talking about is an arrears. Is an arrears which has not been budgeted for. You did not requisition. You did not requisition for it. We don't give you before you ask for it. Did you ask for it?
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. We had a meeting, we asked for that money, and Honorable Mao even wrote a letter. Yes. It is
Honorable members, handle your issue politically. Honorable members, handle your issue politically. I know it is campaign time, you need money. Handle it politically. Honorable members, yes, Honorable, let me hear from LOP.
Right, Honorable Speaker. In all honesty, for starters, I think we need to clean up how we do certain things. We are all here. When you look at some of the issues being raised, we want certain roads to be worked on. We don't want to be fighting over that. But you see, even when we want some of these roads to be fixed and so on, let's tick all the boxes procedurally so that we don't have a fight regarding the law. You see, the order paper, item number 3, is talking about laying of these requests. And the Minister of Finance laid them. Item number 4, the committee chairperson is coming to table a report. And then the House has got to constitute itself into a committee of supply. We need to clean up some of these things so that we look neat, even legally. Away from that, Right Honorable Speaker, and again, as yes, the order paper is talking about laying and so on, the committee already sat, the reports are ready. Some of these things, when the public that follows
Honorable LOP,
our live broadcast.
We agreed, first of all, you should also accept that we do consultation, me and you. I told you, we consult. I told my LOP that we received these loans because it is urgent. I did administrative referral. And he said, well, it may not be very smart, but since it has happened, we consult. You get it as an institution.
Right, Robo, and I want to thank you for that consultative element. It happened this morning when the committee report was already ready, all the processes had happened. Maybe if I at least had been notified earlier on, a few days when the administrative decision was being taken. But now we are here. Now we are dealing with these matters. And here are some of the quick concerns that I do have, Right Honorable Speaker. We want to purchase new aircraft for Uganda Airlines for 22 billion shillings. You see, when you read Regulation 18 of the Public Finance Management Act of 2016, those regulations are very instructive. these supplementary items have got to be unavoidable, they have got to be unforeseeable. How is it that we did not foresee some of these things that we are talking about? That some emergency has happened. I would have expected this for some of the emergencies. Colleagues are always here telling us about how floods have hit their areas, bridges have collapsed and so on. That's when the Ministry of Finance is supposed to come here very quickly and say, hey, this was unforeseeable. It has happened. We need to deal with it. But some of these things, you're supposed to plan. We were here for the budget process, planning together. Why did you not bring these issues? That you're bringing them here now. We are scrambling. The Speaker has to call members, come from your constituencies and so on, to come and deal with an emergency. This is a bad planning issue. Honourable Speaker, we are talking about 300 billion shillings for countrywide youth mobilization tours. I saw somebody defending it and saying this has been part of ongoing plans. If it was part of ongoing plans, why did you not encapsulate it in the budget? Why? Now you hear what he's saying. Anyway, good enough is even off record. You would all be disturbed by the response. Let's plan for all of these things. Because now when we come here, we go through the budget, we quarrel over what we quarrel over, we refuse this and maybe allow some things, and then a short while later you're coming and saying, hey, this was unforeseeable. No, I don't believe so. I don't agree. There's another disturbing issue. 37 billion shillings for a power stabilizer at Namave to enable Roofings Group extend steel manufacturing. This is not a national project, Honourable Speaker and colleagues. This is a direct subsidy to a private wealthy individual. I have specifically raised many complaints here, severally. These subsidies, the monies that we extend to Atiak, Sugar Factory, to Rocco, Inspire Africa Coffee Factory, and so on and so forth, you have never come out clean here for people to know this is how I access a shot in the arm from government. Because we have ordinary people downtown with their small shops and so on, they also have loans. Their businesses are also crumbling. And they're saying, I would want government to aid me. Why is government aiding only a few wealthy ones? What's the process? So that somebody knows, this is how I apply. But you will come here for roofings, you'll come for Rocco, you'll come for Atiak, Day by your farmer, Inspire Africa Coffee. How do these things make sense? To your ordinary voters who are also doing business and they're saying, I'm struggling.
Love, actually, what you're saying is correct, because even when we empower, the empowerment, most of the empowerment is within the Kampala youth, your voters. So you find the Bukeda people are complaining. So you're one of the beneficiaries of this empowerment. You see, this kind of thing.
Honourable Speaker, I'm not a beneficiary. That's why I'm complaining. And by the way, I am not saying governments world over do this. Governments world over, they subsidize private entities and so on. But there is a clear modus operandi on how to do this. But now you leave people to suspect that company there. Maybe somebody in government has got shares. So they begin to speculate how for them they are able to access all of this help. Does not make sense. Honourable Speaker, 79 billion shillings, part of this is for handheld hose to 7 million households. In the year 2025, we still want to purchase handheld hose for people, and yet we are talking about modernizing agriculture. But we want to purchase 7 million hose. This is my considered view, me as Joel Ssenyonyi. I'm saying it is problematic.
Honourable Joel,
we should be advancing.
Honourable Joel, just there are areas that cannot use the other kind of tractors. If you look at a place like Honourable Musasisi's place, if you look at a place like Sebei, Honourable Inikwen, you don't need the big tractors. You need those handheld hose.
That's okay, tractors. Right, Honourable Speaker. I am only saying we have been talking about modernizing agriculture. That's the direction we should be taking.
That is part of modernization.
This is my considered view, right, Honourable Speaker. I should be allowed space to air my view, which is contrary to some people. Yeah, so as far as I am concerned, saying we are spending 79 billion shillings to purchase 7 million hose, especially during this electoral season. There's so many question marks here. Honorable Speaker, 20 billion shillings is required by Uganda Airlines to settle debts for aircraft engine maintenance. So we bought the planes, but we forgot the budget for servicing them. That's what this means. That's why you're coming here with a supplementary. The new aircraft we want to purchase
Can we conclude?
is from the manufacturer Boeing. We have Airbuses. So now you want to have a bit of this and a bit of the other. Why don't you take advantage of economies of scale? You're scrambling jets with spare parts. All of these things are not taken care of, Honorable Speaker. The Ministry of Tourism wants 6 billion shillings, partly to commemorate Martyrs' Day across Anglican, Catholic and Muslim faith. Every year we do this. Why did you not plan for this, government? For me, that's what I find quixotic. That you bring this through a supplementary. Every year, we are always here talking about Uganda Martyrs' Day, how it is a big tourism potential event. But you don't plan for it. Honorable Speaker, protect me from this man from Kasambia. So I'm saying that this is poor planning, honestly. Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, the Electoral Commission needs 469 billion shillings to create 15,256 new polling stations. 1.5 months to the election. How can this be okay? We have had 5 years to plan for an election. So 1.5 months to an election is when you're saying, oh, we need to create 15,000 new polling stations, give us money. But how?
Honorable Joel.
And then...
Honorable Joel.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker.
Do they just need to create or they have created?
Right Honorable Speaker, and that's the entire
that
plan.
That is a concern to all of us. This one is not partisan. Do they just need to create or they have created?
Honorable Speaker, and that's the planning element I am talking about. So at whichever time you have created them, it is now that you're saying we need money, as if you did not plan for it. But why? Why do you not plan properly? 1.5 months to an election. That's my big concern. Honorable Speaker, the biometric voter verification kits, part of which this money is going to take care of. Again, as I did mention earlier on, there are so many unanswered questions here. You're coming here to Parliament and saying, give us money. Members of Parliament are asking questions about these machines. In the past, they have been used and they never functioned. Network issues, usability, and so on and so forth. But you are saying, give us money. 1.5 months to elections. When is training going to happen? For all stakeholders, by the way, including us in this house. I need to know how this machine works because I'm a stakeholder. It's not just for the Electoral Commission officials. So that when I am sending my agents out, I have equipped them. This is what you need to look out for. This is how this thing works. This is when you know there is a problem. 1.5 months to the election. All of that is a green area. Honorable Speaker, we need government to come clean on this biometric voter verification kits. For all of us, by the way, as I did mention, I had colleagues in the NRM, some of them complaining that they were being rigged in their primaries and so on and so forth. This is a concern for all of us, not just we in the opposition. You also want to be sure that this process is fair, it is understandable, regardless where you do belong. So we need cleanness from the state regarding this.
These people are distracting me.
Finally, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, what Honorable Ssenyonyi is saying, Attorney General, is a very important thing. Maybe we need to have a training for members of Parliament, since we are representatives of the people and we are all stakeholders. Can we organize for Electoral Commission to have an interaction with us so that we get to understand what the machines do, how they are supposed to be used, so that we go out there to tell the people that this is what you expect at the end of the day. So can we have that interaction with the EC as members of parliament.
Honorable Speaker, a colleague wants to share information.
Madam Speaker, yesterday we were shocked. Even the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Musasi, did not know how these things are going to work. He was also asking in the committee, and I asked him, but you are the one presenting the request. How can you not even know how the Electoral Commission, and I am being truthful, other members can confirm.
We are saying we all don't know. Don't specify on Musasi. Everybody doesn't know. Let's have the training, and Honorable Lope has brought a very important issue.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And you see, that's why it's always important to operate in the open. So you come here for money for these machines. You have little, if any, information about them, the one asking for the money. All stakeholders are not brought on board. Who are we purchasing them from? How are they meant to function, and so on and so forth. We have had concerns about network usability in the past and so on. And then we hear these machines could be used mandatorily. Because you see, government also needs to come out very clearly on that matter. Are they saying these kits are going to be used mandatorily? We need a yes or no, so that we know.
Electoral Commission should come out to clear, not government, because the leadership in government are all candidates. So let Electoral Commission come out.
Honorable Speaker, here in Parliament, the Electoral Commission is represented by the Ministry of Justice and the Attorney General. The EC chairperson does not sit here, and that's why we're putting these issues to government. Yeah, so it's important that we get to know, are they going to be used mandatorily? If so, what happens where network fails? What happens where some of the officials, as we saw in the last election, the polling official does not know how to use the thing? Because we have a month to the elections, they have not been purchased yet. My final concern, right, Honorable Speaker.
But also, before you come to the final concern, those are some of the issues that when we are having an interaction with the EC, that we should be able to ask the EC, and we should be able to get responses to that effect.
Thank you, and I really hope that those.
Right Honourable, I would want to provide information to the Leader of Opposition that in this supplementary, we have also provided money to NERA, and NERA has a robust plan to roll out card distribution, the national ID card distribution. And that is very important to the electoral process, because the system that you're talking about, you're referring to, will require every voter to use the national ID. And therefore, they must work in symphony. And so the supplementary to the Electoral Commission and to NERA are very important.
Has everybody got the IDs?
So that is what is happening, Right Honourable.
Right Honourable, now a spanner has been thrown in the works. And as I have been saying, about to sound like a broken record, we have a month and a half to the elections. We are now scampering around to do all of these different things. I don't see what magic we are going to do. I don't.
So can we conclude? Yes.
Finally, Right Honourable Speaker, look, this supplementary has got certain things that really, even me, I would be shy to oppose. You know, roads have got to be built. Some of our roads are in pathetic shape. Of course, normally I say, once we have passed the money, let's follow to be sure it is not stolen, as we normally see. That good roads are built, not getting potholes after 3 months and that kind of thing, yeah? So while there are some of those elements, of course I do have some other concerns like Uganda Airlines and all of these different things. Now, I don't want to be standing in the way of some of, in my view, the good elements of this supplementary. But again, I'm also a stickler to rules. Rule 25 of our rules of procedure provides that for us to take a vote on any matter, we have got to have a third of all the voting members present to vote. Of the 529, that should be 177. I do not see those members whether it be on the government side or even the side that I lead, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to confess that even my side, colleagues are not present. They're out there campaigning. So I don't know that we have that number. I hear people saying some members are online. I hope the online people are going to vote and we shall know. Honourable so-and-so is online, they have voted this way. Honourable so-and-so is online, they have voted this way. That helps also so that we don't get challenged. Sometimes Parliament has been dragged to court over procedural issues, especially because some of these things are contentious. It's got to do with procurements, huge procurements, our electoral process. Let's cross every T and dot every I.
AG.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I just want to state to the House that I am going to communicate to the Electoral Commission and require them to come and have an interaction with the members of Parliament on how the BVVK will work and their readiness in that respect as stakeholders. I will ensure that this communication reaches them before the end of tomorrow. Secondly, LOP, I just needed to clarify that it is not for lack of planning. No, let me finish.
No, on the first point.
Clarification is for me, I'm not giving.
It's for
so supplementary expenditure, supplementary expenditure, LOP, is that we struggle, we understand the frustrations that you may have in the way some of these things show up. But at some points we are unable to anticipate. For example, it is impossible for the Electoral Commission to print ballot papers until the nominations and all these are done. We cannot even provide a number because the cost of the ballot paper is determined by the number of voters on the ballot paper. A ballot paper of 2 will be different from a ballot paper of 14. So some number of candidates. So some of these things are difficult for us to. Then the issue of machines, we are not purchasing all of them at a go. Rather, we're not paying for all of them at a go. You are paying advance and then as you get along, and that's fine. So we understand the frustration, but we assure you we do our best to try and achieve that. I also want to clarify on the issue of the roofings. We are not, this supplementary is not giving any money to roofings. We are doing a public line to stabilize the power into that direction, into the Namabe area. So that stabilization of the energy is consumed by all the people who are using that. But we understand, but colleagues, we request you to support government on this supplementary budget. And yes, we agree with you that we should always come back and make sure that we are accountable, and we promise to do better. I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. And what Honourable Ssenyonyi talks about the issue of the matters, this is something that we know we have to provide. Honourable Minister, make sure that you put that in the next budgets so that we don't continue asking for supplementaries.
Madam Speaker, I want to.
The good thing, you're still going to be in the government in the next
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, first of all, there was an issue of irresponsible reporting, and I've said as a custodian, look at page 4, actually starting from page 2, almost the last paragraph, page 4, paragraph 3 and 4, and all the related reportings or allegations in relation to non-compliance to Article 156(2) and Rule 160 should be expunged from this record. We will not allow this on the record. Honourable members, yes, Honourable Medi.
Right Honourable, Honourable Attorney General, on the 22nd, to be specific, on the 30th day, of October 2025, we wrote to the Electoral Commission, that is from the ecological part of Uganda, and we requested them to respond to the following questions. Right Honourable Speaker, I would like to thank you for your intervention on this matter. But this should not be restricted only to members of Parliament, but if we can also involve political parties, because they are participating at that level, and other local leaders at that level, because these are the questions I posed, Right Honourable Speaker. One is the issue of data protection, because our data, other than having the machine supplier, there will be an interface between the voters' roll, our data from NIRA, and the supplier who I hear allegedly is from China. Now that is important, that this individual or this company will now have my biometrics, will have my facial recognition supplied to it from the National Data Center of Uganda, and knowing at the moment that one of the most important things is proliferation of data, that I'll sit here and someone who has my biometrics will be able to open up my mobile phone that is smart from a remote area. Yes, because when they supply this data for verification, including my biometrics, I don't know how secure it is. Then secondly, the other question we posed was whether these biometric voter verification machines will be labeled according to the polling stations where they will be deployed. And I know the reason as to why I'm asking this question in particular. Just like, you know, when we get the parking list of ballots and etc., there is pure annotation and, there is pure marking of everything that this is for Rwanda, this polling station, N to M, A to Z. And finally, Right Honourable Speaker, with the world of technology that we are having, there is a possibility of hacking and cyber penetration by third parties. How secure are we that you might have a machine and there is a bypass from another party? The security of our elections. Therefore, as I conclude, Right Honourable Speaker, the Electoral Commission must come and demonstrate the dry run for us as to how it will handle, because a polling station might have between 300 and 500 people. How these people will be handled in a sequence of 5 minutes or 3 minutes, because if it's 2 minutes per person, then in 1 hour you can handle about probably 30 persons. And if we have 10 voting hours, then what happens to those that are still in the queue? So these are things we want to try and test through a dry run, that we stand in a line and they call by name, and we see how we put our biometric figures there, and how much time the interface between that information coming out from NIRA and telling you now you can move into the queue to vote. You might find that some people might be disenfranchised, or we might have to go to 2 days of continuous voting.
Thank you. Honourable members, this is what the Honourable LOP had raised. When should we have that as members of Parliament?
I think, Right Honourable Speaker, please allow the Electoral Commission to come, interface with you, and you, because I have assured you that I am going to have Electoral Commission come to interface. Otherwise, we're going to repeat and I'm not going to provide any answers.
I'm asking members, when are you available?
Thursday. Before the weekend.
hosting today? I said, are you hosting us for only today? He said, yes.
Honorable members, I have been informed that Electoral Commission, most of the members have gone for the printing of ballot papers. Is Friday okay with you people? Is Friday okay?